Hello, everyone. What a great week to be a sports fan. This is the Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko. Good to be with you. Tariq Spence. Nice to see you, man.
I have no idea what we're going to talk about. I have no idea because there's like 15 different topics to get into.
Well, the Joker, tennis, I think, probably. We'll do a lot of tennis. What do you think?
Oh, I think I've been right for the last 10 weeks, but that's a whole other thing. I mean,
you really kind of have.
Well, I mean, no, who am I? Who am I to say it out loud?
Well, you're number 87 this week. What do you got?
Well, Butch Roll, obviously, former Bills tight end, at one point had caught 14 straight catches for touchdowns. 14 straight catches, touchdowns.
You forgot to say it was autographed.
Oh, it's also autographed to the bank. It's also an autographed Butch Roll jersey. Who doesn't have an autographed Butch Roll jersey in their closet?
Pat Duffy, good to see you. Well, look, we don't usually spend a whole segment talking about a game that's already been played, but we're going to do that this time. Was that the best game the Bills have ever played?
It's the perfect game. I really can't say anything else than it was the perfect game. Every possession you scored, every moment was unbelievable. Defense was able to hold them down. I've never seen anything like this. And because it was against
the Patriots. Never happened.
Well, and here's look at all the dynamics you're going to get. The weather, a hated rival, good coach. And then you go out and you totally annihilate that team, Madden football style. It's just, I hate to say, I know we use perfect game for baseball. That was the perfect game.
I always wonder, like, is it worth watching any more football after seeing that?
Well, right, it is. Well, like, if it wasn't for the stakes, right, every other game would be disappointing. Like, if that game happened in the first Patriots matchup, you're right, the rest of the season would be a bit of a disappointment. But the fact that the stakes are so high against Kansas City this coming week, okay. No, but, like, I was thinking about this, right? Like, the best Bills game that I've ever watched before, Patriots one is up there. That 51-3 AFC Championship.
The one that needs to be talked about.
Yeah, right? I mean, against Oakland, it was LA at the time, right? Like, I mean, that sends you to the Super Bowl. You were partying at the end of the first quarter knowing that you were going to the Super Bowl. But other than that, I mean, you're right. Like, throughout Bills history, and I've watched every minute of every game since I've been conscious, there was no feeling like that game Saturday night in Orchard Park. Oh, my God. Because of everything you just said, all the moving parts, right? It's Belichick. Oh, he's a genius. Not so much anymore. It's the fact that this rookie kid is about to overtake Josh Allen. Maybe not so much. The fact that the defense, I mean, you go back and listen to the mic'd up, the safeties mic'd up in Buffalo, right? Just how much they're gushing over their teammate in Josh Allen in a conversation that they're not really thinking about other people can hear. It was brilliant. It was wonderful. I love every second.
And here's the interesting part about this. When it comes to the Buffalo Bills and their coaching staff, I've never seen them so focused and together. And think about how many different guys are now interviewing for jobs based on the resume the last 2 weeks, the way the Buffalo Bills have played. This is going to be, I don't want to get into the Kansas City game. This is going to be the real stakes to stop an offensive team like the Buffalo Bills. I've never seen anything like that. Now, you have Mahomes, you do have Kansas City, but I was very happy for every single coach, from head coach, defensive, offensive, all the way through to special teams for Buffalo. I don't know how you duplicate that again.
Yeah. So it had to be, because it was the best Buffalo Bills team we've seen to date. The 1990 season, the 1991 game played against the Raiders, 51-3 in the AFC Championship. So the stakes are higher because it's putting your first Super Bowl. It's the best Buffalo Bills team that we have seen. Yeah. This one perhaps at some point can pass it. That was the one that you're comparing this game with.
Yes.
As I looked for something to compare them with, I thought the biggest difference in that was that the Raiders turned the ball over 6 times. Jay Schrader was their quarterback, and he got picked 5 times in that game.
That sounds
so. In terms of the Bills needing to play the perfect game that they did against the Patriots versus this one, where the Raiders essentially self-destructed, I have to fall on the side of this game last week against the Patriots being the best game the Bills have ever played.
No, I mean, I can't argue with that. When you make those points, I think you're absolutely right. But I will say this. I want to thank you. And I want to thank all the people that were all over social media for however many weeks talking about what a genius Bill Belichick was to only throw the ball 3 times in that first matchup. Because there's audio that I've been seeing over and over and over again. And it's when McDermott, after that game, was asked about the genius of McDermott doing what he did. And McDermott at the time looked at the camera and said, well, let's not give Belichick too much credit. It sounded petty at the time. The reason why the Bills had that game, not just the perfection of it, but running up the score, was to prove a point. Yeah. And the reason why the Bills scored all the points they did against New England in the second matchup was to prove a point. You've unleashed a can out of Sean McDermott, a bitter, angry, petty can. And I love it. I love every second.
And now I can't wait for the Kansas City game, because imagine how he felt after last year's AFC Championship game. Will he have more of that pettiness left in him?
Let's talk about that game next. Upcoming, the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills. This is the Rochester Press Box. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Time to talk Buffalo Bills in the Buffalo Bills segment. Buffalo Bills again. Brought to you by Ralph Honda for 3 generations, celebrating 50 years now as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right. That's ralphhonda.com. Kansas City Chiefs, rematch from last year. Chiefs are 2-point favorites, come down a little bit.
I don't know what to think about this game, right? It's a legitimate pick 'em, right? Because you get the 3 on the home field. Look, the Bills' defense is better than the Chiefs' defense. The Bills' offense demolished a better Patriots. Top 5 defense last week, had that perfect game. But then you went and watched Kansas City after starting unbelievably slow for a quarter and a half, score 21 points in 4 minutes.
Throw the switch.
But yeah, I mean, that's just it. You know they're always capable. Even in the first matchup where the Bills win by 18, I mean, there was a point in the fourth quarter where they were up by 11 and they were in control of the game. But I didn't feel comfortable. Like, this is one of those games, I believe in the Bills. But if you were to put me in a time machine and just show me a score next week that showed they didn't win, I mean, I'd believe that too, and I don't think my heart would be broken.
Are you worried, though? Let me ask this question, though. With the way that game played out offensively last week, a lot of people like to say, oh, that was a great game, they'll just do it again. That makes it even harder to go back out and do it again. This time on the road, this time hostile environment, with an offensive team that is just as powerful as you are. So is there more pressure now with this game, knowing full well you just came off the best game you've ever played?
No, I would make the argument it's the opposite, right? Because the Chiefs watched all of the things that you did well. Everything went so well against the Patriots. The Chiefs have to prepare for absolutely everything. What offensive weakness did the Bills show against the Patriots last week? What didn't work? When everything works, you have to prepare for everything. And that's why the Kansas City Chiefs have been so successful for so long, because there were no weaknesses. Well, now you have 2 teams that you can make an argument aren't showing any weaknesses. This is going to be a 60-60 game, isn't it?
Well, you know, there's a saying that you're never as good as you look. You're not as good as you look when you win big, and you're never as bad as when you lose a bad game and stuff. But in this case, both these teams showed at the top of their game, and it's like, which one of these guys, Mahomes or Allen, do you trust more?
Well, I don't even know, to be honest with you, because the way Josh Allen interviewed after that game, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. It was awesome.
It was amazing to see what I was looking at. This guy, it's total confidence, total just control of the team, and just calmness. Not to celebrate like, you're going to the Super Bowl, but to get ready for next week in Kansas City, because he's probably on a revenge tour of his own. But I just find this is going to be a shootout. And I love the fact that the NFL put it as the last game, and you know full well it's going to get a huge rating. It is Allen versus Mahomes. This is what they're building for the future. This is the next level of the NFL going forward. So I'm excited for it. I think this is going to come down to the last play of the game.
Do you dare pick it?
No, this is one of those, I'm not even betting it. I'm not picking it. I might just enjoy the moment and feel of it.
I like that you went betting it first. I'm not betting it. I'm not picking it.
Well, a lot of people are betting it.
I'll give the bet is the first place you go.
I'm betting it and I will pick it. And here's the difference in the game, all right? Last season, the AFC Championship, the Bills, 4th and 3 and 4th and 8 goal. I'm sorry, 4th and goal from the 3, 4th and goal from the 8. Kick field goals down 12 both times. They were down 12 both times. The Bills lost that game. McDermott has shown this year he is not concerned about going for it on 4th down anymore. I think that is what makes the difference.
That's a two-way street.
It is. But the Bills' defense can keep you inside. I mean, look, I'll put it this way. And because of the trends that we've seen so far this season, here's the gambler in me coming out. Not only do the Bills win because of that, the Bills win by more than 12. Because every Bills win this season has been by more than 12 points. Book it.
I just wish they'd beaten Jacksonville. This game would be played here.
No, because if they beat Jacksonville, we wouldn't have gotten to demolish the Patriots. Everything happens for a reason, Bill.
All right, I'll roll with this. I don't generally believe that, but in this case, I'll roll with it because you've been right all season. You really have. This is the Rochester Press Box, a Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by ralphhonda.com. Like it or not is next.
It's not going to his head, though.
Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
From travel to radio days to bloopers. Oh, and I have a special guest. You know Steve Hausman. He joins me on my next podcast at thegetawayguy.com.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Like it or not, the Brooklyn Nets, they're suddenly, I don't know what to make of them.
Look, I know I've been right the whole time, kick this entire show, but go back to the tape when they put this all together. Steve Nash, Harden, Irving, and Durant, right? It was never going to work out. If you're going to put a super team together, there needs to be a well-established hierarchy. When the Celtics really started the whole thing, right? Paul Pierce was the heart of that team, who was the leader. Garnett was going to be the fire. Allen was going to be there to clean up the mess, right? Then when you did it in Miami, LeBron James is Superman, Dwayne Wade was there to play his sidekick, and Chris Bosh was there to clean up the mess. You had three guys that you brought into Brooklyn, all thinking that they were the big man. Okay, exactly, the alpha dog, yes, in that team. And then you have a guy who's never coached in the NBA before trying to keep it all together. Then you throw in COVID, then you throw in the injuries that you've had, then you throw in Harden and the fact that, some games it looks like he's the most dominant player in the NBA, and other games it looks like, he's been at the buffet for 15 minutes before the game started. Like, this is not going to work. There's nothing you can do. If I'm the Nets, in all sincerity, shut it down now. Start selling off pieces and build for the future, because what do you want to do? You want to make it into the maybe Eastern Conference Finals, and then...
They sure looked great on paper, though, didn't they? And didn't the NBA executives for the last 2 years think that the Brooklyn Nets were going to win the NBA championship? And then, oh, by the way, you actually got to go out and play. And oh, by the way, I have a stance I'm not going to move on. And oh, by the way, I have to get healthy.
Yeah, the health is like the big thing. They played 2 games together as a trio this year so far.
But look, let's keep the health together. You can't win without depth. Miami, Boston, even LA, when they put those super teams together, there was legitimate depth. There is no depth in Brooklyn right now.
Like it or not, we got the Hall of Fame vote coming up on Tuesday. They'll announce it. Like it or not, what do you think?
David Ortiz in, yes. Can we just make a decision on Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens? Can we just put these guys in? They're Hall of Famers. Let's get real. I understand the PED use. I get all that stuff. It's all great. A-Rod will probably get in. I don't know about first ballot, but he should. I just believe that this is just a bunch of nonsense. Even for Kurt Schilling, which I know a lot of people do not like his political stance on certain things, and I get all of that. This is for baseball. This is for what these guys did on the field, and I get it. Okay, you made them suffer, you made them wait, but let's just get these guys in. We know they are that talented.
I hate to agree with him, but he's right. And I hate to want those guys. No, look, man. After the way those guys talked and acted,
yes.
They were just petulant children the entire time. I hate to see him honored, but he's right. If it's a baseball Hall of Fame, you got to put him in the Hall.
Him, Mike Catalani used to just constantly bang on David Ortiz. Every chance he get. Oh yeah, David Ortiz and stuff. Jason Stark did a column. I thought it was pretty interesting. He said, and the ways to evaluate these guys, first of all, they weren't doing testing when that secret list came out. David Ortiz reportedly was on it or this or that stuff. But when they started testing from the next year, that's when Ortiz put together his best years. He was tested constantly every year after that and never turned a positive test. The bulk of his career, in fact, virtually the entirety of his career was in the testing area. He always tested negative, and it should be a dead issue.
Why is it he named like 5, 6 guys, but you only defended David Ortiz?
Because we like David Ortiz.
He's the one that's the other guys don't fall into the same date.
No.
The dates are different.
Where'd you grow up? No.
I want Schilling too.
I'm a Mets fan. I'm not even a Boston Red Sox. I like David Ortiz. David Ortiz is a likable guy. I think we will defend people we like, and people who are a little ornery, we don't.
There's only 2 guys that have tested positive twice, and is Manny Ramirez and Alex Rodriguez. And I go back to Jason Stark, and he said, as a result of those things and the fact that they denied it and all the rest of the stuff, he would never vote for those 2 guys.
You want Manny out?
Yeah.
Manny?
You can't put Manny in if you're going to keep these other guys. Although 3 Red Sox going in the same
there you go.
Great. This is the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law and Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
You have that kind of talent. You're spending that kind of money. You have a window to go win in Brooklyn. And you take a guy that's never had a head coaching job ever to deal with two gentlemen who in the past have shown that they might be a little hard to coach when their backs are against the wall and things aren't going great on their team. Let's think back to the last team that had a bunch of stars and needed to win quickly and hired a coach with no experience that was a former point guard. Oh, yeah, the Brooklyn Nets. They've already done this. They did it with Jason Kidd when they had Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and D. Will on the roster and needed to win within the next 2 years or it was all going to be a disaster. And guess what? It was all a disaster. I know it's a different ownership group, but the fans who cheer for the Nets have to be screaming at the top of their lungs, you've done this already. It was a miserable failure. What the heck are you thinking? But I guess with most NBA front offices at this point, you could look at the moves they make and say, what the hell are you thinking?
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business. Pat, let's start.
Gambling! Oh, come on. How great have the last couple of weeks been here in the state of New York with mobile sports gambling? Look, I'm having a blast, man. Now, granted, I'm not betting much. $5, $10, putting a parlay here, taking points here or there. But I have to be honest with you. Gambling as a grown man on sports legally here in the state of New York is a lot different than the way I was treating it when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. And that's what I want to get at here, right? Like, look, I understand my limits because I'm now a mature adult with children and responsibilities. But when I was a kid, I didn't. Thank goodness that age in New York to sports gamble online is 21 years old and not 18. I'll go even further. One thing that worried me a little bit is I had been speaking out loud to a friend of mine on the phone about who we were going to take in last weekend's games. And my daughters heard me. And my 9-year-old, who's very smart, very good at math, started asking me about a whole bunch of different gambling things that I was doing. It alarmed me a little bit. So here's my rule. I'm going to enjoy all the gambling online I can this weekend and throughout the rest of the day betting responsibly. And I'm not going to do it in front of my kids or let them hear me speak about it because me, I can control me. My kids, I worry about them a little bit and let them grow up and be responsible and make their own decision. But how great is gambling, Ben?
Oh, Dak Prescott, you played everybody. I love the way you were able to go in right after the game and basically say, wait, the fans threw stuff at the referees? Well, good for them. That's fine. That's great. Now, later, he apologized, and Dak is a great guy and I think a great role model. But the smart move was to get on the side of the Dallas Cowboys fans after you were not able to beat the 49ers in that game. Your coach also took some of that shrapnel. So basically, what Dak Prescott did was get on the side of the fans, the Cowboy fans, that love him and he loves them, and went against the ref. Apologized a couple of days later, forget about it all season long, but all the heat is off of Dak. That was very well played for a team that just couldn't execute at the end of the game. Good move, Dak Prescott. Good PR, no bad PR. He knows how to play the game.
Every good film has an essence, a universal truth, and while it can be debated as to whether Fever Pitch is actually a good film, it does contain a universal truth. When Ben Reitman, the Jimmy Fallon character, explains to his would-be girlfriend about his over-the-top dedication to the Boston Red Sox, he says, quote, "It's good for the soul to invest in something you have no control over." Sports is, in fact, a religion. That was ever more clear than last Saturday night when 69,188 fans showed up at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo in near historic cold to watch the Bills pummel the New England Patriots in an NFL playoff game. A crowd which included my son Kyle and 5 of his high school friends. Kyle lives in Missoula, Montana. He spent 3 weeks over the holidays back in upstate New York. He flew home last Tuesday, an all-day flight with a family of 4 and 2 layovers. That is no small task. On Friday, just 3 days later, he flew back to Rochester to be with his buddies. Kyle's been a Bills season ticket holder for years, and it was unconscionable that he would not be there for this game. Under the best of circumstances, this was a calculated risk. Any number of things could have gone wrong, or worse, the Bills could have lost. Still, with wind chills and negative numbers, what he did with his friends was summed up in 2 lines by nearly everyone that I told. Quote, "He's crazy. Good for him." That is Unfinished Business, and that is our program. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Creek?
How about Ryan Fitzpatrick at the game? That was pretty cool to see him shirtless.
Shirtless.
Why are you rolling your eyes? He's a very handsome shirtless man. We can say that. I'm secure.
And it just really goes to show the value of a Harvard education.
100%, yes.
Thank you for joining us. Come on, Bill, Sunday night, big day. See you next week with the Rochester Press Box.